Hello, I'm Corey, and welcome to Creating with Scraps. This is going to be episode 30 of Flips, Flaps, and Folds, and it's brought to you completely by Gail Augustinelli. In the mornings, I get up early and I grade papers, and while I'm doing that, I listen and watch Gail's videos. And this morning, she did this really cool side pocket 4-square deal. And as I was listening to her and watching her, I was grading papers, and I started playing. I'm like, well, what if I did... And I started, this is wrapping, and these are the answer sheets from, and I started to play, and I thought, well, gosh, this would be a fun one to include in our Scrapbuster idea book, because I'm using the 6x6 Tim Holtz memoranda paper for that project. And you can use any 6x6 paper. It doesn't have to be memoranda or Tim Holtz or anything else. But anyway, it made me think of this idea, and again, it was all because of Gail and using fold. And so I started playing with it with a scratch piece of paper, and I found that I really liked it. It was simple, and maybe it's been done before and I'm just not I haven't seen it, but anyway, super quick, super simple. And it gives you I guess you could have more, but essentially 5 spots and to tuck tags or things. So you've got one, so it will be attached at the top left and bottom right. And so you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, and then a belly band in the middle makes 5 spots to put things. So I was thinking something like a tag or something here, and maybe some larger pieces here for journaling, a little notebook or something, and then maybe tuck on the side little tickets or things that you could add to those pieces. So let me quickly show you how I do it. You take one piece of 6x6 paper, and it doesn't really matter which one. If you're using a double-sided paper, you might want to turn it sideways or choose one that's not super directional. And for the sake of this, I'll just use this one, simply because the colors are solid. And 6x6, so I am going to choose one side and cut it down to 5. Cutting 1 inch off my 6x6 paper, and hopefully I'm doing it straight. All right, then at the 6-inch mark, you either need to mark it with a pencil or a pen, or you can even score on it, but you basically want to make yourself, so on the 6-inch length, you've got one that's 5, one that's 6. At the 6-inch length, you want to mark the 3 on both sides. Now I'm just going to put a little dot or a divot there. Oh, a hashtag, I guess, is a better way to put it. So I'm marking them both at 3. Okay. Again, you can use a score, you can use anything, you can eyeball it. It's not, it doesn't have to be done this way. I just found it easier. So it's going to sit this way in my page. I'm going to turn it to the side just so I can see what I'm doing. And actually, you know what? I remember now why I did this. I did score it, and the reason I scored it is it made it easier to fold. So at 3, I am going to just give it a light score, and it won't matter at all in the end because you're not folding it in half. That's why I scored it. Okay, well, there you go. And I took the bottom left corner, though I suppose you could use the bottom right corner, but for my page, I did the bottom left corner, and I brought it up to that 3-inch mark, and I folded it. Now on my sample, I inked it, but for the sake of speed, I'm not going to ink it. And then I folded it down, making a triangle. Then the opposite corner. So if you did bottom right, you want to do top left. If you did bottom left, you want to do top right. And you're doing the same thing. You're going to use that 3-inch mark and bring your paper to that 3-inch mark, and they will just touch. They're going to just touch, and then fold it down. All right, so it looks like this. Then I put a little bit of glue, a little bit, just on the bottom to hold that bottom triangle down. I didn't want to come up the side because I want to use that as a tuck spot. But when I'm putting my pieces in, I don't want this to lift because I'm going to use this as a belly band. And when I'm taking that thing in and out, I don't want this section to lift. So I'm going to use just a little bit of glue there, or a lot, depending on what I do. And then I'm going to do the same thing on, this side. Yes. And so I glued the top right quarter and the bottom left 1/4, if that makes sense, because I want the line where we meet at the 3-inch score mark, I want those to stay down flat. I want to keep this open and this open for tucks, but I want those pieces to lay down flat. Then that 1-inch section that I had left over, I am going to use this as a belly band. And the way I did that is I laid it over the center and approximately in the middle. And I just used the fold, the natural fold in the paper as my score line, or as my guideline, and I folded it in half. Then where this triangle is in the back, I glued it down. Okay, glued it down, and it's harder to see because I didn't ink it, but you'll get the idea. And then I do the same exact thing to the opposite corner. Now you're going to see it's overlapping a bit. But we'll come down and trim that when we're done. And I do the same thing here on the back corner. I'm going to put a little bit of glue, and I'm going to make sure I've got a nice tight fold. And it ends up looking something like this. Then I'll take the scissors and trim off that extra bit to make it flat and flush. And I'll do the same thing on the other side. Trim off that extra bit, that extra triangle to make it flat and flush. And there you have it. It goes on top of your page, right? And you've got five tucks or 5 pockets. 1, 2, 3, 4, and a big belly band in the middle, 5. Remember, if you're to adhere this to your page, you're going to glue the top left corner down and the bottom right, or the opposite if you folded it the other way. And that is all there is to it. And I am going to include this in the Scrapbuster idea book. This piece will be in there, and I'll also tuck one in my Flips, Flaps, and Folds. Thank you for watching, and happy creating.